So Deadpan Waifu-chan, if memory serves, you really like to read.
I don't know who you are.
Why does my son want to fuck cartoons? Well, how about why is Twitter fucking garbage? Sometimes you do find little gems out there, like this little screen cap from a Fully Coolly Out of Context page that I came across on Twitter. And to be honest, that is a pretty dope ass collection she got there. Tons of Gynax stuff and even some more obscure stuff. Like, how many people out there actually know about Magical Shopping Arcade Abenobashi? Not too many people watching this video right now have even heard of Magical Shopping Arcade Abenobashi. I will bet. And hey, they got Die Buster up there too, while still repping that OG Gunbuster, the better show. But either way, that shit's just straight up awesome, and look at Noriko, she's doing a cute little seaguile. So I'm curious now, because the screen cap is clearly not from Fully Coolly, so I look it up and see what it's from, and it turns out it's from a show called He Is My Master. Gynax, it's a Gynax show from the early 2000s, that explains it. Totally slipped under my radar all these years, probably because there's really nothing all that remarkable to even discuss about this outside of you probably want to fuck these maid girls. A wicked charm that I am now mostly immune to. Although back when I was a young boy, I thought that shit was wicked hot. Just the notion of cute girls with boobs was enough for me to dedicate my free time for an entire week, sometimes more, to watching what was most of the time a genuinely awful show. Honestly feeling a bit nostalgic from my prior simpleton brain. I'm thinking maybe I'll legit watch He Is My Master. I'll watch the whole show, but no, that's stupid. I stopped myself right there because I have too much to do, and I do not have time, nor should I even commit to the idea of wasting my time on something that I absolutely will not like. So that's why I watched the opening 3 times on YouTube instead. But you see, I can kind of relate, or even dare I say, empathize with modern internet's very sexually open and porn-obsessed culture, as for a time, I was so close to becoming exactly like one of you little slugs. Oh wow, look at those Gmod titty physics. Damn, that Havoc engine. An offshoot of a random anime girl's rack would lead me to Google, where I'd find that character, find that show, and instead of just, doing the obvious, I would watch the entire show for 2 equally obvious reasons. Boing boing. I was pretty sure I actually hated anime at this time because, shocker, but seeking a boob prior to watching tube doesn't net a very consistent result in terms of the actual quality of the writing nor the production of the show. It just means there's one sexy character design, at least. But funny enough, it did actually get me to watch some really good shows like Gurren Lagann. And I'm pretty sure all of you, even the newcomers to this filthy little platform of YouTube, know the exact video that made me watch Gurren Lagann. Drop it. It was a little confusing to watch the show, seeing as none of the Yoko animation they sampled for that AMV was in the actual episodes. Rather, it was from, and get this, a short music video spin-off of Yoko jiggling around in sexy outfits that was used to further promote the show. Those cheeky bastards definitely know what they're doing, oh my god. And then every cosplayer for years was apparently oh my god, and they're still doing all this because Gurren Lagann is actually a really great show and therefore has excellent longevity and oh my god, yes dude, keep all this coming, and please don't tell my girlfriend. Gynax definitely leans on the strategy of using thirst to market its work. Gurren Lagann was Gynax, and so is He Is My Master. All those figs on that shelf are all of pretty ladies from their shows. Hell, they didn't even use the sexy pirate chick from Magical Shopping Arcade Abenobashi, and despite boobs, the actual thing that appeals to me in her design is her glasses. Totally my thing. Do not judge me, because not only am I more articulate, I'm smarter and have better taste than all of you Mandark-looking little bitches.
Dexter! What do you want? Who is that? Oh, that's just
Hatsune Miku.
Oh, what a heavenly name the Eternals have blessed her with!
My subtle yet blossoming youthful glasses kink is why I watched Kyokai no Kanata, a very pretty looking show, character aside, that is actually very good. Still like it in fact, and I tend to watch the finale movie every now and then. My thing for glasses actually leers into a lot of things I make and draw, as you can see by this cool shirt that I designed that's available now for purchase on my Etsy in a multitude of styles, along with this 48-page sketchbook I did in the year 2019 that consists primarily of pinup art. Beat my Etsy. Hey, thinking about glasses some more, Yuki Nagato, she looked way better with glasses. And my favorite version of her is definitely the one that we see in Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, as opposed to the Rei Ayanami equivalent with the personality of a houseplant. And the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya also happens to be another Kyoto Annie work, the same studio that made Kyokai no Kanata. And for some reason, I had this impression that Kyoto Annie was classier and more subtle about its use of tit, but like, who am I kidding? Have you seen Amagi Brilliant Park? I haven't, but I watched the opening 3 times. Wait a minute, that's not the real opening. Haruhi was also my first exposure to the very same maid phenomena we see present in He Is My Master. Oddly enough, because of this, most references they made to maid culture and how ubiquitous it's considered to be with otaku and Japanese culture were taken with me with a light dose of, oh, that's like a thing? Okay. But why maids? I mean, this is coming from a guy who thinks eyewear is sexy, but like, a lot of those kinky outfits, they make sense to me. A maid outfit isn't titillating the same way a lot of other fetish costumes might be. They're very conservative by comparison and tend to de-emphasize curvaceous or sexy features. But maybe that's the appeal, Because instead of going full-on sexy maid, they mostly veer down the line of purity. Frilly. Covered up, long big skirts, arms covered up. Arousal instead comes from the mystery of what color underwear might be under that dress. How it represents a form of indentured servitude, calling you master like a true sub. Like historically, their job is to be a uniform sub who does your bidding and takes care of you. Maid cafes are actually a real thing. They're like a niche, kinda culturally adapted version of Hooters, which went bankrupt in Japan. Maid cafes are a fairly popular niche thing in Japan and a lot of East Asia. And yes, I know, they were in Persona 5, but they're real. Not just in Persona 5, shut your fucking mouth. I think this is where we can really dig into the root of this anomaly, and distance ourselves from me reminiscing my horrible, no good, very bad days. When somebody's lonely and they've got nothing to do and they're very shy socially, it's easy to get sucked down a subductive rabbit hole on a computer monitor. But by the power of a caretaker who does their bidding and calls them master, we're able to crack open that thick, pasty outer shell. What happens when one of these same introverted people goes out to a place to eat? Well, they probably have a hard time communicating with the cashiers, the clerks, or the waiters. Even though the waiting profession is inherently lowering themselves before you, they're still technically an equal to you. They're just doing their job. They're chatty, they're friendly, they're courteous, and when they say, enjoy your food, you be like, you too. When you're trapped in a cybernetic world all day, even the most basic of human interaction can fill you with anxiety. Even the most basic contact or communication with a woman can make you feel nervous, make you tremble. So what's even more simple than basic McDonald's-ass fast food discourse? Well, it's probably when a girl acts like a goddamn cartoon character in front of you, overly cutesifying herself, drawing on your food like a child, and calling you master while dressed like an indentured servant. As social creatures, we crave social interaction in any form. Even the most trite of Counter-Strike lobbies will satiate this. But sometimes it needs to be more direct, and being stuck in a melancholic or anxious rut makes the simplest of actions, even in that very sanctity of a Counter-Strike lobby, the most painful of actions. It's easy to write this off purely as a domination thing, but there's more to it than just that. In Japan, purity is a heavily valued trait in women. They are obsessed with it. White is a color of purity and black is a color of mystery, cloaking our maidens in unsoiled attire, frillily decorating every part of their bodies. It's like a big black and white beam of approachability that also bows down before you, calls you master, and will always be happy to see you. You're basically paying for a very easy form of social interaction and likely okay food. Honestly, the relationship is more like having a cat that feeds you instead of you feeding it. Around 2001, someone in Japan decided to cement this staple into the Akibahara Tech District. A very clever businessman who wanted his seemingly innocent but very specific fetish to become a marketable public staple, offering introverts an easy way to interact with women who would eventually grow to act like something out of their favorite cartoon. Plus, Japanese chicks are pretty small. And I don't just mean that in the way you think I mean it, I mean like a lot of ways. If you look at a beautiful or skinny girl from the right angle, they can come off looking like a goddamn spaghetti noodle. You can't really swing a showy or sexy outfit on a majority of the people in your country. And in a country where pretty much everybody has a pretty damn healthy diet due to healthy foods being more universally and cheaply available, it's pretty common to just have a whole lot of skinny chicks. The age of legal consent is also younger there, and younger girls haven't developed as much yet, so take that as you will. But moving away from that very disgusting line of inquiry, does your city have a Uniqlo? Have you ever been to a Uniqlo? Japanese clothing brands tend to emphasize baggy clothing or comfy clothes over them being revealing or sexy. This is juxtaposed with Japan generally having a much more conservative mindset when it comes to the public display of boob. They place more emphasis on leg because when your boobs don't really get that big and your butt doesn't get that big, at least you got some damn fine legs or like a skinny torso. But maid outfits sometimes don't even show leg or tummy. They cover up even that. Most of them cover up arms. You can't even get your fix if you're a shoulder guy. So you go into a website like, say, Google, Anime Planet, and you can sort of pick up on a trend with anime maid girls, and specifically when anime that prominently featured a maid character or theme came into play. It only really started with some small OVAs in 2001. Around the same times the cafes started to really get popular after a potential 2001 debut. Maid anime generally got bigger and bigger until 2010 when it petered out, but perpetually remained ingrained within the culture. So now you don't see as many shows with a maid focus or with a titular maid character, but we still remain in a perpetual state of early 2000s post-maid influence. Many a waifu from many a show either main or sideline in a maid costume to give us an excuse to see them all gussied up. I mean, I say this when a game like Nier Automata comes out with 2B and her nice ass over here as its main protagonist. So like every convention you go to has either a 2B cosplayer, a Futaba cosplayer, a Diva cosplayer, or like 20 of them, 20 of each of them. So really the trend of maids is not going anywhere. I can only assume that maid cafes began adopting more anime-esque personas after they got a major— Shut up. I know they're in Persona 5. Shut up. After they got a major financial bump from all these anime utilizing the essential maid brand. Rather than strictly caricaturing an indentured servant or a caretaker with the whole master thing, now they're gonna act all clumsy when they draw all over your food and write your name and stuff. A low-stress job as long as you're cute and at least a little bit shameless. Cause you're working with introverted clientele after all, so you don't really have to worry if you mess anything up. That's practically what you're paying for. Oh, klutzy maid, so kawaii. And a lot of the appeal to this stems beyond its nerdy anime tie-ins, as it didn't originate as such. It's rooted in an infantilistic desire to be taken care of, being a simplification of that very form and that interaction. Even down to the menus at some of these places, they're quite limited, making it easy for you to just pick something that you might kinda like. It simplifies the process of talking to a girl down to a basic element of servitude, where said servant not only calls you master, but acts like a cartoonish representation of the real thing. A real girl. This exaggeration of idealized features is the core appeal of anime in terms of how attractive it is. Big eyes, perfect skin, colorful candy-like hair, eyes and underwear, amazing bodies. Why focus on the real world and all of its problems when you can just retreat, you can just run away to a world occupied with these caricatures of characters for just a little bit? They'd never hurt you. They'd never yell at you. They'd never make you feel down about some personal aspect of yourself. Why would you ever get a girlfriend when a romance anime exists? But there is one way a show or any piece of media can hurt you. It can end. It can leave you with an empty void within yourself that can only be filled with more show, more merchandise, more of these characters in any financial way, shape, or form. Change your background, change your icon, change your ringtones, and obsess over it. Surround yourself with products pertaining to it because it came into your life, became the best thing in your life, and then it left you. So now you're left to perpetually sustain that obsession until that void is filled by the next candy-colored thing like it. The unfortunate truth of your audience-viewer relationship is that for that limited time you watch this crap, these people, these cartoon characters, were your friends. So it may not be as intense as the feeling of losing a real friend, but the loss of a piece of media that you love, that you fell in love with, can fill you with the same emptiness as losing a real person in your life. Because for some people, what else do they have but the show that they befriended? And when you take the simple alternative to interaction and to relationships, who needs a real relationship? Why bother romancing when a romance anime exists? Why bother having a life when you can just endure a slice of life with an anime of the same genre? Well, to be honest, the very same people who isolate themselves, whether they want it or not, need any form of companionship outside of those that solely exist within their computer or their television set. And I'm speaking from my own subjective point of view, of course. But I know in my own case, despite how much I like romance stories, that I like romance shows, watching a good one, like a damn good one, in a pitch black room at night after midnight on a school night, it would just bum me out. It would make me sad. As much as I loved watching these adorable characters love each other, I, deep down, desired what these 2D creatures had. And you can try to go out and look for something like that in the real world, a perfect, simple relationship, but it's not the same. The best you can get is a gold digger, or the shallow and simple relationship you'd retain from partaking in the services of a maid working at a cafe. A maid who just wants one thing from you: repeat business. Just like a show desires for you to obsess over it, obsess over their characters, and repeatedly purchase merchandise of your obsession, consuming it. Cosplay girls can try to bring forth your anime fantasies, but don't you dare talk to them, because I don't know, this gets into a weird category where like the girls who are walking around half naked are not to be approached. Like that's just confusing.
Just because they dress a certain way doesn't mean they are a certain way. Don't ever forget it. But ladies, you must understand that is fucking confusing.
You muster up the courage to go to a cosplay cafe or a convention or just anything because you want to spend just a little bit of time with Union. But this is cosplay Union. And this ain't the Union you want. Cosplay Union still shits. She still has her period. She still has the same problems that you can never nor will ever be able to remedy. She still has the same emotional baggage that you ran away from, escaping to the simplicity of the 2D world. And in that 2D world, god damn, Anime Union, oh my god, dude, she probably has the most immaculate butthole you've ever witnessed. Not a drop of shit is gonna emerge from that cortex vortex unless you are specifically into scat.
You've been a naughty boy.
There's not gonna be any layers to her, just one easy to understand character with a specific personality. Huge, detailed, and inviting eyes drawing you into the ever-open window of her soul, and fat, floppy titties. Perfect skin, no pimples, no warts, no unwanted hairs. Nothing. Unless you're into that. So you come to my YouTube channel likely because you saw the brightly colored thumbnail and you expect me to joke, haha, why does my son want to fuck cartoons? I say, why not? The real joke here, it's you. It's you, you little piece of shit. You know what they are? They are sick of people and want to chill with some idealized caricatures of reality. They can be as sexy as they want and appeal to whatever kink they may have, no matter how weird or fucked up it may be. The only limit is their imaginations and how degenerate they're willing to get. The only visual stopping them is the anatomical and artistic skills of the artists they watch, or dare some go as far as to commission, capturing the perfect and ideal ratio of simplification to realism, to veer far from the uncanny and attempt to tread that perfect middle ground. Although I do have major respect for artists of lewd material and anatomically correct material, because not only do you have to draw the anatomy good, you also need to understand the appeal and create an appealing yet anatomically feasible drawing. Like, I draw and animate myself, and I really like practicing gestures with pinups, trying for interesting or difficult poses. 48 pages of which are contained within my 2019 sketchbook available on my Etsy. Check out my Etsy. But to take all this seriously for a second, I'm just gonna say this straight up, and this is just a fact. Treating a drawing as a substitute or an alternative to real people, like, that's not good. You're perpetually hurting yourself by doing that. It's just skewing your perception of reality the same way porn fucks up your understanding of how real life actual sex goes. So I'm gonna close this out with a little message. Ain't nothing wrong with liking good art of girls. Ain't nothing wrong with liking good shows, or even just having a fun little personal time with your dick. But don't just stop there. Don't settle. You can make a difference for you. Anime titty is deliberately manufactured by corporate think tanks to find a way to make you horny and shell out cash money for overpriced Blu-rays, toys, and other such things that'll eventually become nothing more than a paperweight. Wouldn't you feel a little bit better getting legitimate fulfillment from a real person? Someone who really does mean something to you? And I don't even mean sex. I'm just talking like sitting down, having a nice conversation with a friend. Doesn't always have to be a girl, it can be a guy. Like maybe you came to this channel and this video and you're like, hey, I'm a woman, or I'm a gay guy. You should do whatever the best thing is for you. Find someone or some people who intellectually stimulate you, who make you smile, someone who excites you, someone who can make doing absolutely nothing at all feel like the best days and the best moments of your life. And it's hard. No one said it'd be easy, especially for us introverts. And you will get hurt, you will feel empty, you're gonna feel worthless, you're gonna get rejected, but the fact of the matter is that pain, should you work to overcome it, should you break past it, should you dominate it, it will perpetually make you stronger. An anime is going to end, but a friendship or a relationship has the potential to last a lifetime. And maybe you had all that. Maybe you had someone like that in your life, and maybe you fucked up. Maybe you said the wrong thing, but maybe there's a chance that you can still push forward, that you can move beyond it, that you can grow above it, that you can still make it up to them, that you can find someone better than them, that maybe you still have the chance, that maybe today was shit, but you still have an opportunity to seize the day, make your life worth that time, that sweat, and potentially that money that you sacrifice to make your dreams come true, to make yourself happy. And maybe that will feel better and create a greater longevity of emotional satisfaction than a vapid Rule 34 wank to a drawing of a girl. If you want to jerk off. Power to you. I'm not one of those like uber masculine try-hard MGTOW kind of people, so I'm not gonna stop you, but don't let that be the end of it. Don't just get a big nut and call it a day, because you're only limiting and stopping and hurting yourself. There's more to life than 2 dimensions. And no matter how cynical, no matter how hurt, no matter how jaded you may be, you've thought this yourself. And deep down, you might have dared to agree with me. So it's all up to you now. Do what you think will be best for you.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I have a question. Hi. So what you're saying is I shouldn't obsess over cartoons. I should obsess over real celebrities and actors?
No. Any form of obsession is potentially unhealthy, but especially obsessing over people, that's just toxic.
Oh, that's good, because I'm actually a lolicon.